Hi, so we have seen how using a support library like select allows us to do really easy operations with select dropdowns. But there are some cases where, well, we just have plain old dropdowns, like this one here, where you have to click it and then you have your values there. And here you cannot use the select. So in this case, we have to go, I would say, a little bit old school. So how do we do this? Well, we'll just have to make our own methods here. Our own methods that basically mimic what the select library gives us. So we're going to do some, and in case you need more, you can just write anytime in the comments. So let's start. First things first. So we're going to create a new class called Dropdown tests, and this one extends our base test like all our others. And let's just create a public class for our Dropdown tests, and we need to add our test annotation. Good. So what do we need to do here? First things first, we need to get to the page, and on the page we can just write here what we need. So we have to click the button, and once that button is clicked, we have to click on the option that we want, and then we have to check that the correct page loaded, because in our case here, once we click on a button, we are redirected to another page. Okay, so how do we do this? In previous tests, let's go to the text areas, or actually the button test. So when we had multiple elements, it's always good to have the locators in one place. So we could have just located the elements and then use them in our future tests. Due to the fact that the options here, well, they're not really there when the page loads. So we do have here some hidden items which we can use if we want. But in order to simulate as much as possible the actual user behavior, we should do it like we wrote here in IntelliJ. So first click the button, then click on the option that we want, and then check the correct page loaded. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we should create classes or methods for all of these items. So let's just create them. So make a one that says click drop down, and in here we will just create a web element, which is the drop down button, and we can just find the element by, well, let's see what we have here. As easy as this gets, the ID. Yes, so based on ID, we can find this one. So by ID. And once we have it, we will just click the item. Good, and we will call our method here. Basically, step 1 is done. Good. For step number 2, we will actually make two different options or two different methods. We will create one that can select by text, or actually by link, and one that will select by index. Good. So let's create them. First things first, select by link. If we go here and click on the button and we have a look, you have for all of these buttons, we have here a link and a link text. Here, our link text is buttons and it points out to the button section. Okay, so if we would go here and make a web element, and let's say option selected, and we find element, and there is an option which says by partial link text or by link text. We can do whichever, let's say link text. And here, so if we would do like this is perfectly valid, right? I mean, it will click the item that has the link text of buttons. But we want to do it, or actually it will not click it yet because here we would need to still click it. Okay, now this method here will click it, but we want to do it dynamically. So we add here parameter string and we add here link text and we replace this link text here. And when we call the sorry, not by index, by link text, when we call it, we can just give it the parameter here, for example, with the buttons. And let me just add a system.print, and we can let the test run until here to see if it works. Okay, that's always good. So I'm joking. So it loaded the page and it clicked on that option. Perfect. Now let's go back here and we can just leave it that for debugging purposes. Before we create the select by index, let's make the assertion. So what we should check is that after we clicked, that our item here, sorry, our URL here has the text. In our case, actually good that the text that we enter here, that we have here, is also always here. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to just paste it for our example here. Assert. So we're going to assert, if true, that the current URL of the driver, meaning that the URL after we have done the click, contains the word buttons. I'm not going to make it as a parameter here, although I could do that. But the object here is just to understand how this works. So let's import the assert. Since I'm a little bit lazy here, I'm just going to copy that, and we have our assert true. And let's run our test. And the test passed. Actually, let's just do it. So string just make here a text, and the text is going to be, in our case, buttons, and we can just change this one however we want. And here we can just make our text and make it to lowercase so that it works. And let's just run it. And that has passed. Perfect. Just going to add a comment, link text and URL check text. It's always good to add comments. Okay. Now, as I said, we will also build a selection for the index, or based on index. So let's go here and open our dropdown, and here we'll need to find a way to get all of these items here. So how or what would be the fastest way? Let's see, we have a dropdown, and in our dropdown we have a couple of links with this class. And as you can see, with this locator here, I am able to see all of our 15 items. Okay, let's just copy that, and we're going to again have the web element here and options available, and we'll do driver. And since we have multiple, we need to do by elements, and in this case CSS selector. And as you can see, IntelliJ is smart enough to tell us, well, we have here a web element, but you actually have web elements. So it has some suggestion to us that we should make it as a list here, and that's what we're going to do. So now it's a list of elements, and we can here we can get the list of element, or the element from this that we want, and then we can click it, and we will make it as with parameters as we did before. Just need to add an integer here, and just make it here list item. And let's see if this works. So select by index, and the item number. If we want to click the buttons again here, we will need to be 1, not 2. But of course, we cannot do at the moment with the current how this looks right now. We cannot do both select by link and select by index, because if we do select by link, then we are already on the buttons page. So we can just comment that out and run this test and see if it works. In our case here, it would basically be 2 different tests, or well, only one test with either of the methods, depending on whatever you want to do. And as you can see, the test passed. Okay, that's all which I wanted to show you about the buttons test, and I'll see you in the next one.